I wrote down the episode number this time because I started to walk up here and I'm like, fuck, I already forgot. Welcome to the Desert Lair, episode 8. I'm Dustin, functional misanthrope. Dillon's here. He's a mostly functional nerd. So last week we were supposed to talk about The Shape of Water. We'll talk about that this week, but I just didn't feel like I had quite enough to say, so we took a week off. This week we're also talking about the movie Dumplings from 2004. We'll jump into the news first, though, and then we'll get to those. Activision, I guess, is getting hit again because they're using generative AI. So supposedly what they do is they make a website for a game that doesn't exist to try and gauge interest. So in this case, I guess it was some kind of Guitar Hero game. And I guess the generative AI was just atrocious. Like there's a bunch of legs for people in the audience who don't exist, and just like the colors were wrong. Like it was the sloppiest, just most terrible AI thing that could be generated. You know, people are slamming them for this, but here's the thing. They don't care. They're not going to stop until there's something that directly affects them, like a major impact on sales or something, or even a noticeable impact on sales, or they get sued because they've been misleading people or something. Like they just don't care, right? Voice actor George Lowe, who played Space Ghost on the Adult Swim, like Space Ghost Coast to Coast, died.
That's saddening.
Did you watch any of the Space Ghost Coast to Coast, like any of the Adult Swim type TV shows?
Yeah, I watched a couple, yeah.
The Space Ghost Coast to Coast was like a parody sort of the older, Hanna-Barbera cartoon. I watched a little bit of it back in the day. Like I didn't think it was anything super special, but kind of sucks he died. His Space Ghost was really good. I did like him as Space Ghost. Did the voice pretty well. They had a few things of him where it's live action, where he's dressed up in the Space Ghost costume as his character, which is pretty funny. Some of them, there's like outtakes where they're trying to do some commercial or something. And he's like with a sheep or something, and it's just not working. Like the thing keeps walking away. His hat's like, it's just a disaster. It's pretty funny. Monster Hunter Wilds is doing extremely well.
I watch streamers, and I swear to God, every single person the first week that came out was playing that. It's just like literally every streamer like I normally watch on my feed of you could be interested was just Monster Hunter Wilds. Every single one.
So Naughty Dog, so the studio that does Crash Bandicoot, Jak and Daxter, Uncharted, and The Last of Us, or they were talking about their new game, Intergalactic the Heretic Prophet. Did you watch the trailer for that?
If I did, I don't remember.
No. It looks pretty good. The thing that I found interesting, it says they have a new original score from Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross, so 9 Inch Nails. So 9 Inch Nails is doing a score for the game. I'm like, oh, all right, I'm on board with that. It's pretty cool.
I mean, Linkin Park did a new song for Worlds for League of Legends, and it did incredible. So, I mean...
Yeah, I'm down with actual musicians making stuff for video games, so that's cool. Also, the director of the studio, Druckmann, he says there isn't going to be a Last of Us Part 3. I would say it's probably just more like they don't have any plans for a Last of Us Part 3. Like it hasn't been talked about. They have other projects coming up. But listen, I don't care if he says there isn't going to be one. If the video games sell well enough and the TV series does really well, they will eventually mine this for another game.
Oh, yeah. It's the way now. Sequel or book adaptation or something. It's just... Why make something new and risk it when you just use an established franchise that is going to do well? I mean,
yeah. So I think it's kind of funny that he basically hinted like there probably won't be a part 3, but I'm like, I actually don't agree with him, despite the fact he's the director of the studio. Like, if the IP does well enough, you will have another game at some point in time.
The one exception to that is Half-Life 3.
Yeah, but Valve is kind of this standalone. Valve does what they want to do.
They literally do.
I mean, they just don't care. I agree. That's like the one exception to the rule. Discord, there's plans or at least talks or something about them going public, which a bunch of people are concerned about because they're like, great, now it's going to be this ad-fueled.
Oh, I could see, that's going to be bad. I guess I could see they do it away of like Twitch, where it's like, oh, hey, there's ads for something, but if you pay a subscription, you could get past all that.
Well, yeah, I'm sure. And I mean, I don't know how they would do the ads exactly on Discord, but listen, they're going public. They're going to have shareholders. They're going to have to squeeze more money out of it some way or another. So yes, there probably will be ads in some way, shape, or form.
There's entire teams of people paid full-time money of like, how do we add some type of monetization scheme to anything?
Yeah, for sure. Mario Day, I assume this is something that's celebrated every year or something, but Mario Day is coming up, and I saw JetBlue painted one of their airplanes like a Mario scheme. So it's this light blue and it has all the Mario characters, and I'm like, that's pretty awesome. Like, I want to ride on that plane. Some other Nintendo news. I guess they're opening up another official Nintendo store in San Francisco. I think there's already one in New York. I looked at all the pictures. It's literally just a store filled with Nintendo merchandise. It's probably a good thing they don't have one close by, because if you show me a store that has like a bunch of Mario and Zelda and Kirby and all the other Nintendo characters, like, I'm just going to buy shit. Also, there's a whole bunch. I didn't realize how many re-releases Nintendo has done of like old Nintendo and Square Enix games. Basically all the Final Fantasies. So like 1 through 6. And then they have 7 and 8 remastered, like on Switch and PS4. And then they have 9 remastered. And then, obviously they have 10 and 10-2 remastered. I see they're also coming out with Suikoden 1 and 2 remastered, so that's another JRPG from my childhood. So I'm like, fuck, I'm going to eventually just buy all of these.
The worst one I've ever seen is Kingdom Hearts. There's so many different versions of like the same shit. It's just like, it drives me insane. Like,
yeah,
2.1, 2.3, 2.5 final remix. Like, it's almost exactly the same thing. Stop re-releasing this crap.
Yeah. But I mean, most of these, I don't think they've necessarily had other remasters, or at least ones that are any point in time recent. Some of the original Final Fantasy games had remasters for like original PlayStation and stuff. I'm down with having a re-release on fairly newer hardware, even though it probably won't look as good as it does on PlayStation on a CRT TV. But I probably don't have time to replay all these games, so I'll buy them and never play them, but I'm still going to buy them and just have them piled up with the other mountain of console video games that I have, still in the shrink wrap. Zaum, I don't know how you say this developer's name, but the ones behind Disco Elysium, I think it's Zaum. I guess they teased their next project. Artwork looks pretty good for it. Did you play Disco Elysium?
I saw a lot about it, but no, I never played it.
The critical ratings were through the roof. It was I think it won some Game of the Years, or, it won some awards and stuff. And so I checked it out. I tried to play it, and I don't know, to be honest, like, I understand why everyone likes that game, or I guess I understand why they think it's as good as it is. But to be honest, I got kind of bored playing it, and I didn't finish it.
I mean, I guess if I get to a certain point in the game, I just finish at least the story just for the sake of finishing it.
Yeah, I guess it was just, there was so much random stuff to do and orders to get certain endings, and I was just like, I don't have the patience for this anymore. And it basically all text-based, which is not the worst thing in the world, but it's almost more like an interactive novel at that point than a game. So it's like, meh.
That's how Pillars of Eternity felt. It was just got insane level.
Yeah, but there's at least combat in that game.
Yeah.
There is a lot of drama behind that studio, so I think like the original creators like essentially got forced out. There's like a 9-hour-long documentary on it.
Jesus.
Where they interview him. Yeah, I didn't watch any of it, but it's just like, man. So I think there's a lot of drama behind that studio, a lot of stuff that happened. Split Fiction, did you see that game?
I saw streamers play it, yeah.
So it looks like it's done pretty well. It sold 1 million copies in a couple days.
It has a very unique, like, you do multiple things, and there's like a fantasy setting and a sci-fi setting, and it's unique in how it does things, and it looks pretty interesting. But it absolutely requires 2 people to play.
Yeah, so it's a co-op game. The thing that I thought was pretty neat about that, every copy of it comes with a free Game Pass. So even if your buddy doesn't own the game, if you buy it, someone else can literally play the entire game with you. without buying it.
Okay, that's interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool, especially in this day and age, that's a pretty cool feature, man. Seth Rogan, he said that Sony found Jonah Hill's character in Superbad so reprehensible that reps insisted he stay away from a PlayStation during a video game scene. We were told that Jonah Hill's character, Seth, was so reprehensible to the studio that they were like, there's a scene where they're playing video games, and Sony was like, Jonah can't touch a PlayStation. It's like, we can't have him interact with our products because it's too vile a character. And I was like, it's based on me. It's very insulting. I think it's all I got for the news. Did you see anything?
I saw this thing about Todd Howard saying some stuff. I don't know if you saw the Elder Scrolls new game where it's just a horizon and then it just shows the title, which was literally years and years ago. And there's nothing else for the new freaking Elder Scrolls. And they're already talking about Fallout stuff. Fallout is so far away. Everyone was so pissed off. You guys haven't released anything new about Elder Scrolls in 7 years. Where are you when are you going to have something, presentable? Even like alpha or something, just to show people. You're already talking about Fallout. It's going to be like a decade by the time that comes out. Well, Microsoft kept getting pissed off at Bethesda. So they're like, we own so many studios now. We could just have another studio take over for Fallout and make it for you. Like, that could be good or bad. Because, the best Fallout, in my opinion, was New Vegas. And Bethesda didn't even make that.
Yeah.
Obsidian Entertainment did, which is also owned by Bethesda. So a lot of people will keep asking for Fallout New Vegas 2, but they're like, I don't know if that's going to happen. But it's like, you own both of the studios now. There is no conflict of interest anymore.
Listen, it's Microsoft. They can do whatever they want at this point, more or less.
I keep seeing them release developer diaries for Vampire the Masquerade, and they say it's the first half of 2025 it's going to release, but I don't know. I think it's been delayed so many times. But I'd 100% rather it be delayed to I'm 50 before they release a piece of shit. Because after Dragon Age the Veilguard, that franchise is done forever. One of my favorite lore-wise franchises I've ever played is done forever now because they released such shit, such a colossal piece of shit game that it was done. They were never going to make Dragon Age ever again.
I still don't know that I agree with your assessment. I haven't played it. You haven't played it. And I don't know that it's done forever. I don't know that they've killed it. The IP is still worth something, but it will probably be a long time before they make another one of those games.
I don't know. Investors would drive a game, and it didn't meet sales. Combat-wise, on the merit of itself, it might be good enough. But the story, I know for sure, is shit compared to the previous games.
Yeah, again, if they wait long enough, the sour taste will dissipate from people's mouths. And if they come out with a new director and a decade from now, they can easily remake that. It might be a while.
I don't have anything else for news.
Just you hope your Vampire the Masquerade is good when it comes out.
Very few games get Cyberpunk or Final Fantasy 14 level of redemption. That's the only games I can think of. They're was terrible on release, and the studio who made it was dedicated, and they brought it back.
I would argue Mass Effect Andromeda, but
I don't know about that, but we have a different opinion about that game.
Yeah, again, I played it years later when there were almost no bugs, and you played it when it was close to release, and people's faces didn't work. So
yeah, I replayed it again after everything was fixed, and I guess part of the reason is the first time I played it was a bad taste, but it didn't feel the same.
Yeah, it didn't capture the magic that the other ones did. Before we get into these movies, I did finish watching Glow, which is a TV show. The Glorious Ladies of Wrestling is what it stands for, but
oh yeah, I wouldn't be interested.
It wasn't bad. It was pretty neat, based in the 80s, and they made pretty good use of the setting and the 80s soundtrack and stuff. Essentially, it's just a drama TV show, regardless of the setting and the ladies wrestling. It was, I think, created by, and the showrunner for it were women. What I liked about it is it does have this female perspective because a lot of the characters in it are female. It has some things to say about feminism, but it doesn't beat you over the head with it. And there are male characters. I feel like all the characters in this show, or most of the characters in the show, are actually really well written. They don't have this black and white or all good, all bad. Like pretty much all of them, sometimes they're shitty and sometimes you like them, and it makes them relatable. They're all pretty relatable in a lot of ways. So I like that aspect of it. I did skim watch this show, so I started watching it and I got kind of bored at some parts, so I skimmed ahead and got to the interesting parts and watched those and kind of skimmed ahead. I didn't exactly watch the entire thing, but I watched quite a bit of it. It's only 3 seasons long, and it's like, I don't know, maybe 8 to 10 episodes a season, so it's pretty short overall. And I think they had started filming season 4. They maybe even finished 1 episode, but it was the time during COVID, so it got delayed by like 2 or 3 years, and it was expensive to make, and so they dropped it. It was decent. I think it was at least worth checking out. Wasn't one of my favorites, but like I said, the character writing was pretty good. I won't score that one. I guess let's talk about The Shape of Water. We'll start with that one.
Okay.
This movie is from 2017. I'll just read the synopsis here. At a top-secret research facility in the 1960s, a lonely janitor forms a unique relationship with an amphibious creature that is being held in captivity. This movie was directed by Guillermo del Toro. So he's directed a lot of stuff. Kronos, Mimic, Blade 2, Hellboy 1 and 2, Pacific Rim, Pan's Labyrinth, a stop-motion Pinocchio. There's a lot of stuff. He's made a lot of decent movies. He has pretty unique visual style in a lot of his stuff. My first thought when watching this movie is like, man, Del Toro is into some weird shit. I almost feel like they made Hellboy 2 and he's like, you know what? I would really like to see Abe the Fishman have sex with somebody.
Yeah, I was about to bring that up. It's like when I first saw the fish character in it, I was like, this looks like Abe from Hellboy. Like,
yeah, like he made that movie and was like, I'm going to look up some Rule 34 of this. I got to make this movie.
Yeah, I don't know.
It draws a lot of parallels to Creature from the Black Lagoon as well, one of the old monster movies. Visually, the movie looks pretty good. Del Toro movies generally do look pretty good. Their apartment building in specific above that theater, and the theater, I really like the way all that stuff looks. The pool where they keep the Fishman, the amphibious creature, like that big blue metal thing where the water comes out, almost like sewer pipes. That looks really cool. There's a shot like the neon signs of that diner. The shot is in the daytime, which is kind of a bummer because obviously it'd look better at night, but it still looks really good in the daytime. Also, I really liked that black and white dance sequence. I thought that was pretty neat. It's a good looking movie. Everything in a Del Toro movie is striking. This is actually a pretty sexual movie.
It really is.
So like the opening scene, we see her and she's masturbating to this egg timer. I don't know. I thought that was kind of odd.
Well, I got to take of like, okay, this is going to take time. What can I do for like 15 minutes? And that's what's like our thought, I guess.
Well, it's like her getting ready. Like she only has so much time to get ready or something. But I'm like, wouldn't you do this after you wind down after work or something? Like just, it seems weird to me that you would set an alarm clock to try and masturbate to, like within a specific set of time. I was like, this is just strange.
People get different things out of it,
I guess. Also, there's the sex scene where Michael Shannon, he's having sex with his wife and he's got his 2 fucked up fingers that he's putting over her mouth.
Yeah. They try and, in a way, portray what it like with that time period. You always get that like misogynist, or they try and always go back to what women were like in the 50s and 60s sort of thing. And I was just like, I guess they try and portray that in some way. The wife is super submissive and stayed home, take care of the kid's mom.
Yeah, I mean, it's a strange sex scene with his mutilated fingers that he's putting over her mouth and he's like bleeding on her and stuff. And then there's also, so it's not really much of a sex scene, but obviously she has sex with the Fishman.
My first thought was, men are so incredibly bad that you have to turn to someone who's not even human. Like how bad men must be.
I mean, that's kind of the part of the whole point of this movie, though. This movie is about the minority experience.
Yeah.
We have the black cleaning lady and all these cleaning people. The main character who's a mute. And you have the Fishman could be a stand-in for every minority character, more or less. Then you have the gay roommate, or the gay next-door neighbor, rather. This entire movie is about minorities and them not having a voice, and especially in the 1960s, it highlights that. But she says something to the effect of, the fish man just sees me for me. He doesn't realize or even understand that I'm like not complete. Something to that effect. I thought that was interesting. It's a very sexually charged movie in a lot of ways. Again, Del Toro's like, gotta see Abe have sex with somebody. Michael Shannon, like you said, he's misogynistic. He's just terrible in this movie. Prejudiced, terrible piece of shit. He's torturing the fish creature. Like, there isn't really any reason for him to torture this fish creature.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just like, you want someone to be compliant? Torturing is the opposite of wanting them to be compliant.
Well, and there isn't even really, again, like it doesn't seem like there's any reason why he needs to. Like the scientist seems like they can get whatever information. He just is a piece of shit. He's misogynistic and he's trying to basically suggest he's going to force himself on the mute girl because he likes that kind of thing in a fetishistic kind of way. So he's pretty awful to women and just everybody really in general. Also, he washes his hands before he goes to the bathroom, but apparently not after.
Yeah, I was just like...
And then puts a piece of candy in his mouth after he's done. And I'm like, oh.
I have gone to wash my hands, like only to wash my hands. And then because of the running water thing, it's like, okay, now I have to pee. And then, yeah, I will always wash my hands again.
Yeah, I mean, come on. Here's the thing. They say blue collar workers have to wash their hands twice, once before, one after. And white collars only have to wash their hands once after. But it's like, this guy, I don't know, man, don't go to the bathroom and not wash your hands and then put a piece of candy in your mouth afterwards. Like, come on, dude.
Every time you see that guy, he's eating those. Like, dude, your teeth are just going to rot out of your head.
Well, the other thing, like, I mean, I don't know about you, but eating hard candy constantly, like, it makes your mouth sore, I feel like.
Yeah, I definitely know what you're talking about.
I also like how her coworker is basically like Bubba from Forrest Gump. Like, she literally never stops talking.
When your partner is mute, you have to do all the talking.
Yeah, but I mean, even still, she's basically just never stopped like the entire time. Like, man, how did she have this much nonsense to say?
I know people like that. They like always have something to say about something.
Yeah, I mean, believe me, I'm very familiar with those kinds of people as well, but I just thought it was pretty funny. It's like, man, she's like the perfect counterpart. You got one girl who can't talk and another girl who literally never stops talking. I don't know. Is there anything else you want to talk about with this movie?
Most of the utterly ridiculous, like, there's only so much you can ignore physics with the whole filling up the water in the bathroom scene. I was just like, okay, there's bending the rules for entertainment.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, it was more of just a neat visual thing. That's what he wanted to do. So in this particular movie, like, I'm willing to forgive it. It's not a serious enough movie in terms of...
Yeah.
I'm like, whatever. He wants to have this neat scene where they've filled up the bathroom and they're floating around for their underwater sex scene thing. Whatever. I'll let you have that one. It's fine.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. There's only so many rules.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's completely ridiculous, but whatever. You got to fill the damn bathroom up. Anything else?
No, that's it.
Scores for this movie?
2.5, below average.
Man, even with a full chalkboard, I can't figure this out. I'm going to go 3.5 out of 5. You know, this movie, visually it's interesting. It looks good. I don't have any complaints or any, like, the writing was good. The pacing was pretty good. I don't have anything really bad to say about this movie. It's one of those movies where I acknowledge, yeah, this is probably a pretty good movie. It just, I don't know, it didn't do a whole lot for me.
Pretty much what you said. It just didn't do anything. It just felt like a normal, like, movie. And there's a certain point, I feel like they overdid certain character traits for certain characters, like the military guy. He doesn't have one redeeming quality about him whatsoever. Like,
yeah, he's just an evil asshole.
Yeah, I was just like, it's almost one-dimensional level of character, and it felt certain characters almost too one-dimensional for me.
Yeah, I mean, I would argue that rather than them being characters with character development, they almost represent more of an idea in some cases, a structure for the plot. So I'm not too concerned about that, I guess. I'm a little more forgiving of that to an extent, but I get where you're coming from of like, this guy's almost a caricature of an evil guy. Yeah, I get that criticism. It didn't bother me in this particular movie. There's a lot of stuff you could dissect in this movie, and there's a lot of symbolism and stuff, but I'm like, again, the movie didn't do a whole lot for me, even though visually everything worked, writing was good, it was interesting. It was just, wasn't for me, I guess.
Maybe the visuals, the only thing above average for me that I thought was good, but everything was just average, and there's a couple points that just make it below, so my overall score is below average.
All right, well, that's fair. Let's go to the next movie here. Set the chalkboards down. Dumplings, 2004. I'll read the synopsis here. Aunt May's famous homemade dumplings provide amazing, age-defying qualities popular with middle-aged women. But her latest customer, a fading actress, is determined to find out what the secret ingredient is. So this movie was directed by Fruit Chan Gore, or Fruit Chan. I think he's a Hong Kong director, so it's not like a Japanese thing where the Chan is kind of like the suffix. I think Chan is his name, and fruit is like the literal translation of his name.
Okay.
So he's done a few movies. I think the one that is the most well-known is one called Made in Hong Kong from 1997. That's probably the movie we should have watched first of his, but it didn't work out like that, so, whatever. So this movie is essentially just a deep criticism of China's one-child policy. It's a scathing criticism of that. Of course, China reversed that policy in 2015, so now I think they have like a 3-child policy or something. It turns out what happens is that if you have strict population control and your population gets to a point where when it starts to decline, there's some kind of economic ramifications of that. Your population starts aging and you have more old people than young people. There's a lot of stuff that economically that impacts. So China reversed their policy and now they're actually trying to, I think, boost the birth rate.
I thought one of the bigger problems was the male to female ratio in China was really bad.
Well, yeah, so that's happening too, because having a male firstborn is a big thing in a lot of countries. So if you can only have one child, you're going to have a male child generally. This movie, again, it's a critique of the one-child policy. It's also a critique of how obsessed we are with youth and beauty and all that kind of stuff. Before we actually get into talking about the movie, I do want to talk about the visuals for this movie. I actually like the way this movie looks. It has this kind of plain, everyday look. Like there isn't anything that stands out. I like that. It's only on DVD. It was only ever released on DVD, which is unfortunate. I really wish there was a Blu-ray release of this, but even still, I think it looks good on DVD. Let's go over some of the shots here. There's a lot of these exterior shots. So the ones where like the clothes are hanging up on their concrete walls, and then you can kind of see everyone's doors and stuff. It does a really good job showing the weathered, textured look of the concrete and all the paint. And again, it just gives this very good everyday quality, which I think is kind of a theme in this director's movies, is he likes to portray everyday Chinese life. Visually, he does a very good job at that. You also have the same exterior shots at night. I like those too. They look good at night. Again, everything looks kind of weathered and a little run down. The interior shots of all the buildings, or at least of her apartment and stuff, it has this old weathered look to it. The walls, and it just kind of a little grimy almost. When she rings the doorbell, you get to see a real good close-up of the texturing and stuff of all the doors, and it's grimy and weathered again. When she's walking down the hill, you can see all the apartments in the background and that tree. Again, I like that shot quite a bit. You have that salon. I don't know if you remember, but it's like super grimy and beat up. Every chair is just completely ripped up and old. They look like they're 20 years old or something. And the wall is stained and everything just looks kind of dirty almost. I really appreciate those shots. I like those quite a bit. You also have a couple of the architectural shots. The cylindrical apartment building.
I thought that was really interesting where she kept looking up.
Yeah, it's this giant cylinder. Yeah, it looks pretty neat. It's cool. There's a couple shots looking up, there's a couple shots looking down. I like both of them. All the outfits in this, she has the floral pattern with the red bag. All the outfits stand out, especially all the women's outfits. They're just so bright against kind of the grimy background, so it's a nice contrast. That orange checkered outfit that she has with the purse, the blue leopard print one, the lime green and black pants, and then the like purple leopard print shirt, and they have those umbrellas when they're walking outside. The outfits that they wear are just, they're really colorful and bright, and so Like I said, it's an interesting contrast to kind of the grimy background. On the other hand, the husband, his silk shirts, man, ugh. Like, silk shirts on a man are just, ugh. The only thing that really did not look good in this movie is the fake blood. Like there's a couple, it's that real bright red, sticky looking. It just looks fake. So that was kind of a disappointment. So getting into this movie, off the top of your head, have you ever watched a more disgusting movie than this movie?
I wouldn't say just overall repulsive, disgusting. Probably no. I mean, as far as like gory level over the top, I've seen some horror movies that have been pretty bad. Of like, what's the worst possible way of gore level?
Yeah, there's definitely gory body horror type movies that are more horrible than this. But in terms of just gross, disgusting,
probably not. No.
Let me spoil the surprise for you. They're eating aborted fetuses.
Yes.
Like, I think the worst part are the fucking sounds. She's slurping this dumpling like it's this slurpy, chewy, and there's this like slight crunching, and I'm just like, as I'm watching this, I'm screaming in my mind like, no, don't do it, no.
There's a part where it's just like, I'm eating this, and she's staring at Aunt May, just like, I'm doing this. Like, I'm not backing down. It's just like, why do you need to stare? Like,
I was watching this alone, and I literally started making like throw up drive-ins. I was like, who that? Who that?
Well, I do have to say, after watching Hannibal, the TV show, as far as the disgust level of cannibalism was slightly stunted, so I wasn't that level, but
this takes it to a whole new level. Hannibal has nothing on this. Like, let me ask this. What amount of money would it take
for me to do that? None.
I mean,
none.
There's $1 billion. Someone has a check, and they're like, I just want to see you eat a bite of this.
No, I'm sorry.
I think even if I wanted to, I just wouldn't be physically possible. Like, I don't think I could.
No money. I would have to literally buy mouthwash by like the gallons just like be able to function after that. Like,
it would be like the scene in Ace Ventura after he finds out he kissed a man. He's got like the plunger in his mouth, and
it would never be enough. I couldn't. It just, the physical repulsiveness of just eating that. It would just, I couldn't get out. I would just have like, I would never be able to sleep again because it's just, I would just think of that every time I close my eyes. Like, so no money. I don't care if you offer me $1 trillion. Like, I just couldn't do it. I couldn't. I physically just couldn't do it.
Oh, God. Fetuses aside, if I'm stranded on a desert island somewhere, if it's between eating bugs and eating a person, if I have to eat bugs, I'm starving. A person, listen, if I got to eat someone's leg, it's probably not that bad.
Like I said, there's something physically repulsive about just, I couldn't do cannibalism. I'm sorry. I would eat bugs first. Yeah.
Ugh, I would starve, but like someone has some kind of, unfortunate accident, and they have a nice juicy leg, and I'm getting pretty hungry. I could probably eat the leg.
I question what unfortunate accident means, but sure, okay. Okay.
It's between that eating bugs, going for the meat.
I've literally watched Bear Grylls eat probably bugs multiple times. That's not like, it cannot be that bad.
I can't do it. I couldn't do it. The other thing, we see her husband eating that bird thing. Do you remember that scene?
Yeah. I was just like, it was acting like it was caviar. I was just like, what the hell?
Yeah, like just that. I mean, that egg, the egg is like gray, and that like whole cooked bird or uncooked baby. Like, no.
I know. There's something you said about Asian food or whatever. I don't know.
Just no. Like, I'm not eating this baby bird with like its giant eyeball and beak still intact. Like, no. Just, And then she's stomping all those eggs on the ground, and I'm like, hey, bitch, the house cleaner has to clean that disgusting mess up. Like, The actress, so she asked, do you have any more potent stuff? Do you have anything more potent? I need your best stuff. And I like how she's like giddily talking about how late term abortion, essentially like 5 to 6 months in, is the best. And she's all happy talking about it. You can see their hands. And I'm just like, oh God, like.
If you have no morals and you want to live forever, how far are you willing to go?
Yeah, but there's a difference between, I don't know, just how giddy she is talking about it. If you want to make a case for pro-choice and abortion rights, this is a good indication. Like, she's performing a fucking kitchen sink abortion. Like, Jesus Christ, man.
Yeah, I don't know how that girl got talked into that. I was like, okay, you want to do this on the sly. One, there's no sterile room. What would look like a professional to do this, even if it's black market sort of thing and you can't do it officially. I was just like, this is not the place. There's a reason why infection is a very big deal in hospitals, and they go to such great lengths to have a sterile environment.
I mean, here's the thing. She's like 15. She's in a country where having illegitimate children, and she was raped. Listen, you do not want people having fucking kitchen sink abortions. Again, it's a good argument for pro-choice. It's not something that you want people doing if they get in an extremely desperate situation. The main character, Aunt May, so she takes this late-term aborted fetus, and now she has her material to make the good stuff. And I like how the wife or whatever, the actress, she walks into the kitchen as she's making this. It's the most disgusting, like, pile of placenta slop, and she's holding this baby, like this a baby. It's a baby. She's holding it, and you're like, it's just the most disgusting thing ever. And so she runs out, basically gets sick to her stomach. She's like, bleh, kind of, and then she straightens herself up and decides, like, fuck it, I'm doing it. Walks back in, like, oh.
And just some people care so much about their looks. I guess it's like someone else has already done the actual bad thing. I'm just accessory to the thing because I'm like taking apart.
I mean, the moral aspect of it aside, just the fact of eating that is just so disgusting. Like, I can't even. Oh God, it's so awful. But
and I like how you moved past the abortion part. That was one of the most disgusting things I've ever seen. I was just like, Jesus.
I mean, it doesn't get too graphic necessarily. I mean, she's got her legs spread and it puts a tube inside of her. Like, to me, it wasn't disgusting. To me, it was just concerning because it's like, this is where we end up if you try and ban abortion and stuff. Like, fucking people are going to be having kitchen sink and bathtub abortions, man. To me, it was less disgusting and just more concerning overall, especially because we're in that current environment. Her audacity to eat this stuff, just ugh. Thankfully today, if you want to look young and beautiful, fuck man, get Botox. Just get Botox and whatever other creams or, like, pump the shit into your face and just be done with it. Let's not eat weird, crazy shit, aborted fetuses, whatever, Ugh.
There was this woman in history, Elizabeth Bathory. There were several unfounded and not historically accurate things about her, like killing a bunch of young women and draining them of blood and her bathing in it.
Yeah, bathing in the blood. Listen, I will bathe in blood long before I eat aborted fetuses. Like, it's not even a question. Like, I'm swimming in the pool of blood. Ugh.
It's even almost worse when she figures out what it is, but she's not repulsed. She's literally like staring the lady down of like, I'm doing this. This doesn't affect me at all. I'm okay with this.
God, just the sounds and like the pinkness and these dumplings. This is not a movie where you want to eat as you're trying to watch it.
Oh, I totally did. It was a couple hours ago. I got something to eat. I was totally eating right as I watched this. That aspect doesn't affect me in the slightest.
Really?
It doesn't.
Definitely, I'm not going to be trying to eat in the middle of watching this movie.
I don't have that, like, I'm imagining what they're doing is what I'm eating.
You can.
Yeah, I could separate it. I ate beef earlier. I was like, this is cow. This is not person. Like, I know this. It's like, it doesn't affect me. I know I'm eating cow.
Ugh, man. I do like how Aunt May is singing to her as she's eating these dumplings. I'm like, oh, I actually kind of like the singing.
And then after she's done, she critiques about like the bones are really bad about it. Like you're critiquing this meal. It's like,
oh man, just ugh. This movie is disgusting. After she eats it, the potent stuff, she develops the fish-smelling rash.
she has a party with her friends. They're like, "What is that awful smell?" And she figures out it's her. I was like, "You'd be like, there's nothing wrong with this. Like, yours not gonna have any side effects whatsoever." I was like, "You should have expected this. I mean, come on."
And then, of course, after that, she finds out that the mistress, her husband's mistress, is pregnant. And so she pays the mistress to have this abortion. And then the end of the movie is her essentially making her own fetus dumplings. And just like, oh, I'm done with this movie. The sex scene between her and her husband, first of all, he's got this broken leg. And I'm like, how is this working exactly? Like, he's in this cast and his leg is propped up in the bed, remember?
I don't remember. Are you sure? Because I don't.
Yeah, his foot's up and he has a cast.
I don't. I guess I don't remember that part.
Huh. Yeah, he's got a cast and he broke his leg or something. He's laying in bed. So first of all, I'm thinking like, how is this working exactly? Like he rolls over on top of her. But the other part, she spits water into his mouth. And I'm like, ugh. I'm like, is this like...
Oh, I thought that was vodka.
Oh, maybe it's vodka. I thought it was water. Maybe it's vodka. Whatever.
Okay.
I'm like, why are you spitting things into people's mouth? Like, don't we have enough disgusting food stuff in this movie? Now we have to spit things into people's mouth?
I guess in movies or TV shows, I've seen it several times where one person will take a drink and then they'll kiss the other person and like give them the drink through the kiss. I've seen that several times.
Like, I don't know. Well, I mean, even that is slightly different than me hovering over someone and like just spitting it into their mouth.
Okay. I mean, it could have been water. I thought it would make more sense if it was like vodka or it was like alcohol.
Yeah. I mean, either way, maybe it's water, maybe it's vodka. It doesn't matter. It's still gross. I don't understand how this is sexy that you're hovering over someone and just spitting something into their mouth. Yuck, man.
I've seen a huge thing about like foot fetish. It utterly disgusts me. I don't understand why people like feet. It's part of the body that has a function, and that's it to me. The point being, people have weird fetishes, and it's just...
Listen, I agree with you that you can involve yourself in some stuff. You're not spitting stuff into my mouth. I'm sorry, but no. You're not spitting stuff into my mouth. No. There are things that have a hard limit sometimes.
Well, I mean, at a certain level, I mean, you are doing spit transfer when you kiss. Like,
sure, but you're not spitting liquid into my mouth. Like, no. Just no. Do you want to give this movie a score?
It's so hard for me because I'm starting at 3, but it's just, I want to go down for disgusting factor.
You want me to go first?
Yeah, you go first.
So I'm actually going to give this 3.5 out of 5, 3.5 stars. So for me, I really liked the visuals in this movie, even though, you know, it's this grainy, blurry.
I did forget a part I wanted to talk about.
Okay.
The guy has a sex scene with his masseuse or whatever, and then his wife, and then he comes home and picks up the other line of the phone and listens to her talk to this May lady, and just through the context of this is what she's doing to make herself look young again. So he's interested. So he goes over there and figures out what's happening, and just immediately leads to sex. I don't understand that whole part.
There's 2 parts to that. So number 1, she's been eating some of this stuff too. So she also appears young and beautiful to him. And so he's attracted to her in the same way that he was magnetized to his wife. So there's that aspect of it. The other aspect of it, in my opinion, is I almost get the feeling that Aunt May is like, obviously she has no morals whatsoever. So I think there's that aspect of it. But I wasn't 100% sure that she wasn't trying to get pregnant herself. Like she could abort her own fetus.
In the middle of sex, he sees the picture of her when she's 20 and the year next to it. And he's so mind blown. He stops in the middle of sex of like, I'm just done. Like, what the hell? It's like, you're an old woman. It's like, and you look like you're freaking 25, maximum 30. It's just like, there's a part where she talked about, I'm my own advertisement. And I guess showing a picture from when people weren't even literally born yet. You're 20, I guess. Is, damn, lady, if you were actually for real 64, you were the best 64 Latino I've ever seen. But
well, yeah, that's the point. He's trying to say like this stuff works. I've been eating thousands of aborted fetuses and I still look young.
Go back to what you were saying about the score, though. Sorry, I forgot about that part before you started.
No, you're good. Again, score-wise, 3.5 stars. I like the visuals in this movie. I like the way it looks. Even the blurriness of the DVD, it still looks good. I think this movie accomplishes what it sets out to do. It makes an effective criticism of the one-child policy. It makes an effective criticism of doing anything for youth and beauty. So it does that well. They're doing what is effectively the most disgusting thing ever, and they still don't care. So this movie wasn't especially great, but because I like the visuals and because I think it set out to do what it wanted to do, I'm going to say 3.5 stars.
I'm going to start at 3, but there's a couple of points of the ending. The girl she originally got the aborted fetus from dies because you did a back alley surgery and didn't do proper, whatever. Even though you previously said that you talked the entire scene about being a doctor. I'm assuming you know about certain things that people who don't do that do, and yet you let her die. So then, of course, the police are wondering, well, how'd this lady die? Almost as she knew that they were going to find her, she leaves. Just almost the exact same time the police show up, almost right before. And that whole part was just like, okay. And if she's done this multiple times, I feel like leaving dead bodies is a bad idea.
She tells the mom and the girl, this is risky. I don't, at first, remember, she refused them. She tried to push them away. She didn't want to do it until the woman wanted the ultra potent stuff. She understands this is risky, right? She knows it's not without risk. So regardless of how good she is at giving abortions, it's still a back alley abortion that's late term that she's fucking doing in the kitchen sink. So she knows that there could possibly be a problem. The other thing is, I don't think she knew necessarily that it was going to kill the girl. She knew there were risks, but when she leaves, everything seems fine. But I think she develops complications and then dies. So I don't think she knew she was going to die. I don't think she intentionally killed her. I think she developed complications and then bled out.
Well, I guess what I was bringing up was, why'd she leave that exact moment?
Well, yeah, that part is maybe a little far-fetched.
But yeah, this is certain plot things that just, how do these steps lead to this sort of thing? And I don't want to lower the score just for the disgusting factor. So, I mean, I guess I'm just going to stick with a 3.
Okay.
I want to take things away, but I don't want to do it just because I'm disgusted. That's not, to me, that's not a thing you should lower the score on.
Yeah, well, like I said, that was what they set out to do, and they did it for a purpose. It wasn't, and the purpose wasn't necessarily just to be disgusting. It had a point behind it. They set out to do that intentionally, and they accomplished that with flying fucking colors. Ugh.
I guess I'm just gonna stick with a 3, average.
All right, 3 out of 5. Chalkboard. It was an interesting movie. I will watch his other movie just based solely on the visuals. I liked the way this movie looked, and I have no issue checking out some of his other movies. And I think he had something to say, and it was clear what he had to say, and he said it. For next week, let's watch Godzilla -1. I kind of want to watch Shin Godzilla, but it's not out on 4K yet, which is irritating, so maybe we'll watch that one at different times. Anything else?
No, that's it.
All right, later, man.
Yep.
Of course, every time I try and do an out of 5, I have to figure out some way to do. I'm just gonna end up getting a chalkboard that's this big. I guess I could try and draw stars, but that would be a bad idea because then it's gonna look like complete ass because I can't write.
Well, I mean, instead of doing the shade, you could do the thing.
Do an asterisk. I can't do that. It's just whatever.
Almost every movie you pick, there's always some ridiculous sex scene. The last few movies you picked, it's this ridiculous sex scene. You know how to pick them, You definitely opened my eyes to more ridiculous fucking. Told the eye doctor guy about I red eyes and being dry. He's like, yeah, just start using eye drops daily. I haven't used eye drops fucking forever. Dude, it took me 4 fucking tries to put the fucking eye. I kept hitting my fucking eyelid. I'm like, God damn it! This is pissing me off. I kept hitting my fucking eyelid instead of my eye with the eye drop. I'm you see exactly like on the video when people like watch it or whatever, like the duration or like what's the biggest part of like what people watch or whatever, like they skip to, right? There's like a bunch of analytics that goes into like.
I haven't really looked at it too closely. I can see the analytics. I mean, listen, no one's watched the videos, so there are really no analytics. I don't know. I don't really care or pay that much attention to it.
Okay, I mean, I'm assuming no video has like over 50 views or whatever. So.
I think a couple of them do, like, have over 50 views, but I assume that's like they literally clicked on the thumbnail, watched like 2 seconds of it, and they're like, "This is what I thought it was," and clicked out, right?
I mean, I've done that. So I know exactly what that really is.
Yeah, so I assume that like probably the overwhelming majority of people who watch it have been that exactly. So actually, that's one of the things I got to try and figure out. Like, what is the thumbnail for this movie going to be? I really want it to be that fucking plate full of placenta with her holding the child up, like.
I'm assuming YouTube's gonna.
Yeah, I don't think an aborted fetus is going to be an acceptable thumbnail image. There are people who save pieces of placenta and cook it and eat it, which is like,
yeah, I've heard of that.
what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, eating placenta and fetus to me is way more disgusting than the cannibal aspect of it. Like, oh god. I mean, I'm sorry, but I don't really want to be in a room with that many neckbeards. Cause I don't know if you've ever been to an anime convention, but like,
I wanted to. More.
The smell sometimes you're like, oh god. Like, take a shower, people. Take a shower. I'll put it this way. I was working on a site one time that had a dead rat, and I didn't know if the smell for the dead rat was the smell of death was worse than the smell of the person who hadn't showered. I'm like, they're about equally as bad. It's like 100+ degrees outside, and you haven't showered in 4 or 5, like you smell like death.
How long has it been like that where you just noticed?
Yeah, whatever. I don't really care. Like, it doesn't bother me. I come somewhat close. Like, I don't care.
The part that made me laugh the most is when you got your fucking diploma and they spelled your name wrong. It's on your fucking diploma where it's like super nice cardstock and these letters, and it's like, how much did it cost to fucking make this? Like,
I do remember when we had badges in school or like IDs. I wrote John Doe upside down on the thing, and so my badge with my picture said John Doe upside down.
that's awesome.
It's like, we can't fix it now. It's too late. Like, all the people, like.
Oh, God.